Welcome back to the Rhino Rank podcast, where we talk about all things marketing, SEO, and business growth. As always, I'm Jack, and today Jess and I are diving into a topic that's more relevant than ever: LinkedIn and personal branding. And joining us is someone who is taking the social industry by storm, Ayesha Ameer. Just 4 years ago, she didn't even have a LinkedIn account. Now she's ranked in the top 3 for personal branding in the UK, which is a fantastic achievement. In that time, she has helped countless professionals find their voice and build authentic personal brands online. In this episode, we explore why LinkedIn is more than just a digital resume, the first steps you should take if you want to build a personal brand, and what it really means to be yourself online. Ayesha, welcome to the podcast.
Perfect. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for letting me come on and talk about LinkedIn, personal branding. It's all my thing, so I'm excited to speak about all of it.
That's fantastic. So do you want to go ahead, give us a little bit of an introduction into yourself, how you started off with LinkedIn and possibly using it as a tool for business and not just a resume, or sometimes people might use it as an extension of their CV. How did you get started with this wonderful world of LinkedIn?
My whole journey on starting with LinkedIn is a little bit different to other people, I would say. What happened was I was doing a marketing apprenticeship and my manager, he came to me, he said, you should go onto LinkedIn, you should grow your personal brand on there. So I said, okay, you know what, I'll try it out. And this was probably 2020, 2021. And the first year of me being on the platform, I didn't really show up. I was a ghost on there. And I think a lot of us have been at that stage where we just look at everyone who's on LinkedIn. We get inspired, but we don't really do anything about it. And then I decided, okay, I should probably take action and do something. I decided to start posting consistently. I looked at people in the niche that I was in. So I was basically focusing on marketing, but now I've gone and dived in much deeper and gone into personal branding and LinkedIn as a whole. But at the time, I was following people that were in marketing, and a lot of them I still actually follow now. And I got inspired by them, and I pulled out ideas from their content as well, started posting, and then I saw my audience growing. I started showing up even more. And like with my manager, we would block out time each morning where I would go onto LinkedIn and I would do my whole branding thing. And then I would get into work and like my usual work tasks. So that is kind of how I started. And till this day, I just try to be as consistent as I can be with LinkedIn. And now I've got my own agency. So I went from my apprenticeship, finishing that, to going on to starting my own agency. And now we work with clients globally who are working at big companies like IKEA, we've got Breitling, we've got Louis Vuitton. So a lot of individuals we've worked with, and we help them grow their personal brands on LinkedIn. And I do coaching as well. So that is kind of my whole journey. And when it comes to LinkedIn, a lot of people, they use it as a resume. They think, okay, we'll just display the places we've worked at, we'll just mention what our work role is. But I think when you use it for more opportunities and making it a bit like a growth engine, like it is actually insane the opportunities that you get. I've worked with people all across the world, and probably 17, 18-year-old Aisha wouldn't have ever expected any of it. She would, if she was looking at me now, she'd be like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I didn't even think any of this was possible. But I guess when you put yourself out there and you show up, then the opportunities come and you just stay consistent with it. It's not going to be from day one that, it's like crazy. But when you start showing up, then you start seeing the results.
I think that's absolutely key. Like if we consider your journey, like you've just said, you'd started in your apprenticeship, 2020, 2021, only 4 or 5 years ago. So to jump from being an apprentice to now owning your own agency, running your own agency, and have clients of the likes of IKEA, that's phenomenal. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
that's great to have you on here. You clearly have some fantastic insights to share. But you mentioned something then that has really resonated with me, and it's about showing up. That has been it's been crucial for me in slightly a different sense. To give some more info, I'm training for the London Marathon, which is this weekend, and showing up has been absolutely crucial. And everybody that I have spoken to and that is also running the marathon, whether it be for charity or they've managed to secure a ballot spot, showing up has been key, and reminding yourself of why you're doing something. And that really resonates with what you're discussing in terms of if you're building a brand, you're trying to get yourself out there, you have to show up, you have to commit to this cause, you have to commit to your why, which I think is absolutely crucial. And it's the same if you, even if you're trying to build a brand as a business, you need to commit, you need to present your wine and fully commit to that. So that's fantastic, and I really like that. So in terms of LinkedIn as a whole, then why do you think not many people are using it in the way that it could be used in how you're using it? Why do you think a lot of people aren't trying to build that personal brand and they are typically just using it as a resume? Do you think it's because they don't realize they can, or do you think it's maybe they're not committed to showing up, or maybe they haven't fully grasped the opportunities that they can actually get from it?
I feel like within it, there are different stages. So the beginning stage would be that it's just people don't know about it. I felt like I was
Yeah.
in that position as well, where I went onto the platform, but I didn't really know much about it. You know, you hear about TikTok, you hear about Instagram, you've got Twitter, but LinkedIn was a little bit of the odd one. And it felt like it's just for business professionals. Like, I'm not a business professional. Why should I be on that platform? So I feel like it was that. And then when you go a little bit deeper into it, when you know about it and you know that you can get opportunities from it, then you've got that second stage where you're nervous to post. You might not have the time to do it, or you might not feel like you're ready to post. So because of that, then you're kind of blocked. I think you have to break through that and try to get more comfortable with it and make the time to create content, make the time to do commenting, make the time to connect with people. Then you start seeing the results. And when you're consistent with it, it's great the opportunities you get from it. But I feel like there's different stages to it. So at the beginning, you might not know much about it. And then when you know about it, you don't really put the effort in to do anything. I know that was me at the beginning as well, where for a whole year, I was just watching people and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to take the next step. I'm going to post this piece of content. And then I would back away. I'd be like, actually, no, I'm just too scared to post this. But you get comfortable with it over time. And the good thing was actually that I was connected with a lot of people who encouraged me to put myself out there. I looked up to them. And what's crazy is now they're like my best friends on LinkedIn. So back then, this was like 3 years ago, I would look up to them. I would be like, wow, these people are crazy on LinkedIn. They've got like thousands of followers. I'm never going to be like that. And then now I've come to a point where I'm like very close friends with them and we speak regularly. And also, I have surpassed a lot of them too in terms of like LinkedIn growth. So, this is what happens when you put in the work.
Do you think it could also be maybe a sense of, like you say, you've created this post or getting ready to post it, you go to post it and you, like you say, too scared? Do you think it could be a sense of maybe imposter syndrome as well? Why do I deserve to post this? Are people actually going to listen to it? Have you ever experienced that, or have you ever seen other people that you've worked with experience that sense of imposter syndrome?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. It is something that a lot of people come across and struggle with. I think at the beginning for me, that happened to me for a little bit of time. But then because I kept on seeing other people on LinkedIn who were posting their ideas and sharing their content, I was like, why can't I do this? Like, if they can do it, why can't I do it? So then I started to put myself out there. So I think having that ring of people around you who are pushing themselves, it motivates you to do that as well. So always surround yourself with people who are going to push you more.
So in terms of starting then, let's say you put yourself back 3, 4 years ago, like you said when you started, what would your main tips be to actually get started? What would you recommend doing to somebody that is looking to start growing their personal brand on LinkedIn?
Firstly, I would say don't do any profile optimization, don't do the content side of things, don't start with any of that. Actually, start with opening a document and writing on there why you want to start on LinkedIn, what your goals are, and what you want to achieve. Because I feel like people just go in, they start optimizing, start creating content, then they realize, actually, wait, this doesn't align with what I want to do. I was just posting for the sake of it. Of course, as time goes on, you do adapt and your strategy changes. But from the beginning, if you're clear about all of this stuff, it really does help. So I would say open up a document, just bullet point a few things down, and then start on deciding what you want to display to your audience. How do you want to position yourself on LinkedIn? Do you want to be known as an expert in your industry? Do you want to sell to your audience? Do you want to get more opportunities? What is it? So then you write that out and then you make all of that clear. That is basically the basis for all of your content, your positioning on LinkedIn, your profile optimization. Then go in and optimize your profile, do all of that stuff. You've probably already heard a lot about it on LinkedIn, where you work on your banner, your headline, your about section, featured section, and then go into your content. So make a strategy, make a plan, have a system in place. When you have that system in place, then you can't really fall off things as well. I know of some people, what they do is they'll post for a few weeks and then they'll just come off and they're like ghosts on LinkedIn. You're wondering where have they gone? Because of that, it doesn't allow you to grow on LinkedIn, and it can be damaging to your brand as well. I've seen a lot of people like this where they've had crazy growth for a whole year, and then now I go onto their profile because I haven't seen them on LinkedIn for a while, and I go onto their profile to see what they're up to. They haven't posted for months and months. I'm wondering, oh, what happened over here? So don't be that person. Be the person who stays consistent with it. So, work on your content, work on your strategy. And it is easy as well to fall into a lot of the LinkedIn guru advice where they mention, put this thing in your headline, put this thing in your featured section, speak about this stuff, but actually it might not align with you. A lot of the advice on LinkedIn is targeted at one group, which might just be a group that's like selling on LinkedIn. But that isn't the case for everyone. Like, not everyone is selling on that. Some people are just normal employees who just want to grow their personal brand on the platform. They just want to share their ideas and get a few opportunities. Like, they're not selling anything. So I think being open to that as well, just when you see the advice on LinkedIn, take it with a pinch of salt and test things out as time goes on, because I adapted a lot. At the beginning, I wasn't selling anything. I was just a marketing apprentice who was sharing advice on LinkedIn about marketing, especially around social media marketing and branding. And then I went into like my whole agency, growing my personal brand and also selling on LinkedIn, which is now what I do. And of course, sharing my expertise. So, it changes as time goes on.
It's like once you've found your why, you also need to like marry it up with like your passions in life as well. Because I feel like it is a personal brand. You are putting yourself out there. You can't just use the same kind of setup and the same strategies that everybody else is using, because you as yourself are an individual. If you go to other platforms like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, you wouldn't copy everybody else's posts. So why would you do that with LinkedIn? You almost need to remember that it works in a very similar way. Yes, it's a bit more of a professional platform, but you need that authenticity. You need to be yourself and to show up as yourself, because that's how you're going to stick to it long term. If you're just putting on this persona, it's very easy then a couple of months down the line to get tired with it, to get a bit frustrated with it, and to lose that kind of enjoyment that you're getting maybe at the beginning.
Exactly, yeah. And I feel like also at the beginning, you have that fire inside of you to do the posting, to do the profile optimization and everything else and the commenting. But then over time, you can get bored of it. I've been there, like I've been posting for 3+ years, and 100% I've had those days where I'm like, I don't want to go and look at LinkedIn. Like, I'm sick and tired of this, especially me being someone who gets hundreds of comments under each post that I put out. Like, it gets tiring, it feels repetitive. Content ideas, like I'm like drying out of ideas. I don't know what to post about. So having a system in place really does help with that. So I'll have a content calendar, I'll do content scheduling. I have a team that will help me with commenting. I know that's probably not an option for everyone, but just having a couple of systems in place really does make a difference. And then you don't necessarily have to enjoy it as time goes on, but at least it's still being done, because this is something that is quite important. Your personal brand, seeing those opportunities. Like, for me, on the days where I feel like I don't have the motivation or I don't really want to post, I look at these individuals on LinkedIn who are, they've got millions of followers, like Stephen Bartlett. I'm like, he's not saying I don't want to post on LinkedIn because I'm tired and like I don't have any content ideas. Like, that isn't the case. So I push myself. I tell myself, okay, if I really want to do see the results and come to a level like these people, I have to put in the work. I can't just sit there and do nothing. So, it's not just, you can't rely on motivation. You have to just put in the work.
Do you know what? It resonates a lot with showing up, like you say. It completely. I think if you look back at the last 3, 4 years of your progress, you've probably made as much progress as you have from those small wins, from those small progressions in saying, today I don't really want to post, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's those posts, it's those days of not being in that certain mind frame, but continually showing up for your reason, for your why. And for this specific example, building your personal brand, if you continue to show up, you will succeed. You will grow quickly. Absolutely, I think that's absolutely crucial. Continuing to show up people on the days that, if we talk about a fitness journey, on the days it hurts, on the days your legs are tired, go and do it. On a personal brand example, on the days that you really don't want to, you can't be bothered to look in, you're tired, you've had lots of work to do, you really don't want to post, do it. Continue to show up for that cause, and that's where you'll see that progression. Would you agree, or have I maybe gone off a little bit there?
No, I do totally agree with that because
Good.
you have to you have to show up and put in the work, and it is these small wins that add up over time. For me, for example, I've noticed that across the last 3 years where it's not been the case that I've just gone from like 0 followers to 60,000 in just one night. Like that's not the case. It's the small wins over time. Even the opportunities that come into my inbox on LinkedIn when I'm speaking with people, when I'm closing deals, it's not the case that I've closed 20 deals in one day. It's actually the case that I've spoke to 1, 2 people and, I've pulled out opportunities from it. So this is the thing, like it's too many people look up to individuals on LinkedIn and they look at their profile. Like even I know some people, they'll go into my profile and see, oh my gosh, she's got like 65,000 followers. How do I do that? And like, I want to get to that point in like a month. And I come across people like that, but it's the small wins and putting the work in over time that counts, and that's what adds up.
100%. I completely agree.
I was just going to say it's about setting those short-term goals, isn't it? Because you might have that giant aspiration of I want to have 60,000 followers as well. But there are journeys to get there. There are steps that you have to do in order to be able to reach that level of followers, to reach that level of personal branding and influence with people in your industry. It's not going to be like you're going to wake up one day and you've got one viral post and you've suddenly hit that mark, unless you're extremely, extremely lucky. It's going to be something that you do have to work on. So for those people who maybe they do have their why and they do know what they want to achieve and they've got that excitement to start their LinkedIn journey, but they're not quite sure how to get started. They're not sure how often they should be posting, what content types they should be posting. What advice would you give them? Because I know a lot of it is, have a go and have a play and see what works for you and what resonates. But I think that almost opens up a door of there's so many things that you can try. There's so many things that you can go and look at. Is there almost kind of a 1, 2, 3 step process for somebody who's maybe just starting out for things that they should focus on initially?
Yeah, so I regularly go on coaching calls with clients, and this is something that comes up a lot, especially at the beginning when I start speaking with them. They don't really know how to start on LinkedIn or the steps to take. So that's where I come in and I tell them, like, this is the best thing to do. So the piece of advice I normally give at the beginning is start small. Just start small, leave a couple of comments, connect with a few people, put out a few posts, and analyze how everything is doing. So you might decide, okay, I want to start posting on LinkedIn and showing up on LinkedIn. Then what I want you to do is connect with at least 10 people in that week. Just start small. And then also create a goal where you want to drop comments. So it might be in that week you want to drop 20 comments on different posts. So that can be your second goal. Third goal might be you want to put out 3 posts that week. So it's all about finding what you're comfortable with and then just building it. When it comes to content formats, again, that's something that you test. So I know for my content, I've got pictures and carousels. They perform well. For our clients, some clients' video content performs really well. And for them, a carousel would perform very poorly if you compare the impressions over time. So it's all about finding your expertise, what you're sharing, and how you can best display it and the results that you're getting from it. And don't feel that you have to just stick to one strategy forever. Like there's so many options out there. That's why it's such an open floor, because you got so many things out there. And especially when it comes to post formats, you've got text posts, you've got the carousel, you've got the pictures, you've got the infographics, you've got video content, so much talk around all of it. I would say rather than actually focusing on the content format, focus on the idea you're sharing, because viral posts, like any type of format, can go viral. You have carousels that have gone viral. You've got video content that's gone viral. You've even got content which is just 5 lines long and that's gone viral. So, it's all about finding that as well. So testing things out, but focus on the idea you're sharing. So make sure it's something unique. It's something that you want to share. Don't be generic on LinkedIn like everyone else. A lot of content you'll see on the platform recently has been very fluffy, which is one of the reasons why nowadays I'm kind of sick of LinkedIn, because I just feel like there's nothing new on there. It's just all that same stuff. Like, you have the same advice, and you might have also seen like the billboard quotes, and you've got like all the motivating quotes. The thing is, it doesn't really make you stand out on LinkedIn. You kind of blend in with the noise. So another thing that I would say that you should focus on when you're building your brand on LinkedIn is be different. Don't try to be like everyone else and sharing the same ideas. I know at the beginning you might do that because it feels comfortable. You don't really want to put yourself out there, but you still want to be posting. But as time goes on, share your ideas and try to be different, because that is actually what people love on the platform. And that is actually how you will build your personal brand and be unique. That is how, like, even look at the word personal brand. That's how you're going to be personal and show what is personal to you in your brand.
That's really helpful. I think especially focusing on the ideas kind of side of it, because if you're giving advice to like a business or a corporation, it'd very much be focus on your USPs and what makes your business unique. And it's very similar for personal branding, because we are individuals. There are great things about us that are unique to just us. And it's almost like you have to be willing to maybe be a little bit vulnerable and put yourself out there with that kind of unique point of view, because it might be that some people don't always agree with what you're saying, and that might be a fear for some people posting. Not saying that they're going to be posting very controversial opinions, but some people might do, and that could be a fear of those. And I suppose another one is when people run out of ideas. If they're 6 months into to starting their personal brand, and they've put all of their, or what they think they've got, their ideas out there, it is very easy to kind of run out, and you don't want to necessarily repeat what you did 6 months ago. So do you have any advice for people who are maybe looking to not necessarily reinvent old ideas, but kind of come from different angles or different opinions?
Yeah, there's a few ways to do that. I feel like I've been in that position actually, because I've been posting for 3 years. When you're posting, sometimes just you feel like you can't really come up with any new ideas. It just all feels the same. So I have a couple of processes in place to make sure that I have ideas. And this can actually apply to any industry, anyone that's on LinkedIn, where there's different things you can do. So the first thing I would say is you've got AI that can help you out. So you got ChatGPT, you got DeepSeek. I know it's pretty generic, but they do come up with good ideas. Usually what I do is I'll pop in an idea, like a post I've created that has performed well. And I'll also pop in my target audience. And then I'll ask it, okay, so this is my target audience. These are my goals. Can you give me some ideas so I can target the right people? You can also ask it, can you give me ideas which are being spoken about recently? You can also go and check the news. You can find stuff that's happening in your industry and speak about that, especially if you want to be a thought leader. That's something you can do. Something else is looking at your comment section. What are people talking about? What are they asking about? Because it is actually interesting when you go into content that your like the ideas or stuff that people have been speaking about, because then you know 100% people are interested in this. Every single time I do that, where I pull out a content idea from my comments, that piece of content just performs well, because people want that answer. They want advice on that topic, or they're interested in that topic. That's another thing. And after that, I would say you're scrolling on different social media platforms, you're scrolling on LinkedIn, you'll see content that you really, really do like. And all of these platforms have options where you can save the post that you like or the piece of content. So what I do is I'll be scrolling on my feed doing a bit of commenting each morning, and I see a piece of content that I really do like, or I'll go in and save it. And after a few days, I'll look at that piece of content and put my own twist on it and get ideas from it. And that really does help. So I feel like those are a couple of tactics. And actually, now that I speak about it, there's a tool that I use called Magic Post, which has been very, very helpful. And like, you can put in your piece of content and it generates you an idea. It gives you different ideas. You can also scroll through top performing content on LinkedIn. You can pull out ideas from there. You can also put together maybe 3 or 4 lines and put it in their generator, and it gives you a piece of content. And this isn't like you putting it into ChatGPT or DeepSeek and generating a post. This is very different to that, because the content, like, it's not like AI. You can't even tell that it's been generated by something, because it latches onto your tone of voice. You basically pop your profile into that tool and it gives you like a piece of content that aligns with your tone of voice, and you can edit it, add in your own words, change it up. So within that, I would say having tools like this in place as well is really good because they can help you out. I know you're going to come to a point 100%. Anyone on LinkedIn that's posting consistently is going to come to a point where they run out of ideas and they don't know what to say. So that's why having processes like this in place really does help.
In terms of these fantastic processes to help you create these posts, then obviously you've got this brilliant idea. Maybe, like you say, you've used Magic Poster to create this brilliant post that you feel will be successful. How can you go about getting other people to see it? So not just the people that you're connected with, not just your network. What about the other people, the people that aren't your followers, the people you're not connected to? How can you make sure they see it as well?
So when it comes to that, it's actually about the LinkedIn algorithm, how it works. I'm going to dive into a little bit of that actually, because I feel like this is something a lot of people should know about when it comes to LinkedIn. So when you post a piece of content, LinkedIn shows it to your first degree connections. If your first degree connections are very interested in it and they're engaging with it, they're spending time on it. So it's called dwell time when you spend time on a piece of content on LinkedIn. So when they are doing that and LinkedIn in the algorithm, they see that people are engaging with this piece of content, then that piece of content is pushed to the outside of your network and people outside of it as well. So second, third degree connections, and even people that might not even be following or connected with you. So just making sure your piece of content will make your first degree connections engaged. That's very, very important. And then also when it comes to your network and you wanting to reach more people, of course, connecting is one part of it. The other part of it is just comment on people's profiles that you normally don't comment on. How LinkedIn's algorithm works is it brings those people towards your content. You'll even notice if you DM someone on LinkedIn, you'll see after a little bit of time, their content is on your feed. You might not even be connected or following them. So it's all about these small tactics in place as well when it comes to the algorithm.
For example, if you've been on LinkedIn for a very long period of time, so for myself, I had LinkedIn from the age of 18, which is way too long ago now to say out loud. But obviously, I've only just started looking at building my personal brand. But over those years, I have built up a network of quite a few people from a lot of different industries, most of which now probably aren't going to be relevant for the journey that I want to go on with LinkedIn. So would you recommend almost auditing your kind of followers and your first degree connections to make sure that they are your target audience, or at least people that you want to be reaching with your posts, in order to kind of balance out with the algorithm?
Yeah, this is actually really, really interesting and something that a lot of people don't speak about on LinkedIn. So you want to make sure your first degree connections are of good quality. And it's actually people who will engage with your content now. So right now, like you might be connected with people from 5, 10 years ago and they're not relevant anymore. And the journey that you're on now, they're probably not going to be interested in that content. So what you need to do is go through your connections and remove these people who probably aren't going to be on this journey with you now and they won't be interested in your content because you're not targeting them. You know, this is actually something I still do to this day. I've got over 10,000 connections right now. And each day I try to go in and clear out a few people because when I was doing my marketing apprenticeship, I connected with a lot of people randomly. Like they could be from any industry. I was like, I just want to grow my followers. I just want to connect with more people. And I think this is something that a lot of people do at the beginning on LinkedIn. So now I've come to a point where like I'm bringing in a broom and I'm cleaning everything up because I've made a mess of it from before. So I have to remove these people and not connect with them just to make sure that I've got the right people in my network. So I would just recommend you go in and do that, make a little bit of time each week to take out these people and also at the same time connect with the right people. You know, when I'm going on these coaching calls, a lot of people, what they mention is I'm posting content. Like my content, I think is really good and the content is decent. And then you realize that they're getting maybe 5 likes on a piece of content and their impressions, they're getting less than 1,000 impressions. And that is because their content is being pushed to an audience which isn't interested in that topic. That's why you need to clear out your connections and then you'll notice that your content will go towards the right people.
That's definitely something I'll do.
In terms of LinkedIn being such a powerful tool, then when we look at some of the clients you've worked with, the likes of IKEA and Louis Vuitton, Why is LinkedIn a powerful tool for opportunities like that? How does it actually help you achieve almost gaining clients of that stature?
I would say one of the reasons why is because there's actually like serious business professionals on the platform or serious professionals overall. Yeah, you can find them on other platforms too, but LinkedIn has that name for being that business platform. So when you go on there, it's a completely different vibe to other platforms. And when you're engaging on there, you'll see more opportunities as well. You're targeting the right opportunities. It's easier on there too. I remember this was 3 years ago when I came onto the platform. It was very easy to make a massive impact on the platform because there was less people posting and you could speak about a certain topic and it reached more people. There's more competition now on LinkedIn, 100%. I would say there's like 5 to 10 times the amount to what it was like before, but still the opportunities are there. So I would say, like, because people on the platform, they're quite serious with what they're doing, and when you're targeting the right people, you can just bring the opportunities for yourself if you're positioned well on the platform.
So if we look at LinkedIn as a whole, then I know that we've discussed about, sometimes it's very easy to almost fall out of love with it after a while. Would you say that a lot of that can also attribute to burnout because you need to be so active, because you need to be doing these daily comments and liking posts and having that interaction, as well as obviously creating your content plan and getting your own posts out there? Do you think burnout is quite common with people who are trying to get their personal brand out there?
100% burnout is very, very common because when it comes to building your personal brand on LinkedIn, most of the time, people who are building a personal brand on LinkedIn have a job that they're doing or they're running a business. They have other responsibilities. LinkedIn can't be their life. So you have to like make the time to come on the platform. I know when you're on the platform, you've got so many things to manage. You've got the content, you've got the commenting that you're doing, you're connecting with people, you've got DMs from people to reply to. There's many aspects involved in it. So it is very easy to burn out. I know I have been in that position where like that has happened to me. Now it's not so much because I've got a team that help me, but I know not everyone is in that position to do that. So if that is the case that you feel like you're burning out, you need to have the right systems in place, to be honest. You need to have a time blocked in your schedule where you're going to spend time on LinkedIn. You're going to be like, okay, this is my LinkedIn time. This is when I get into my zone. This can be like 1 hour a day. Depends on how much time you can give to the platform and growing your personal brand. It's different for everyone. So you decide to do that. And then also block out time to create content. Sometimes you're in a queue to go somewhere and like you're waiting in a queue. You'll have 5, 10 minutes, do a bit of commenting then. Or you might just be sitting down and at an appointment and you're just waiting. You've got 5, 10 minutes to maybe create a content idea. So you can do stuff like that, like the small bits of time that you have, make use of them and just things become easier. But also make sure you schedule time away from the platform, especially an individual like myself, because I'm on the platform, I'm running a LinkedIn agency. It's even more common for me to burn out because I'm just on the platform all the time. So that's why I have to schedule time away from the platform. I log out from all socials, especially on the weekends. I'm like, I need a break from everything. And when I feel like things are getting too much, I just take a break from all of it. But having these systems in place where you're using the right tools, you're creating a content calendar, you're targeting the right people because you have the right ideas in place and like you're using AI, all of that stuff really does help in the process. But if you do feel like you're coming to a point where you can't really handle it, you need to bring things down a notch then. Like maybe post a little bit less, maybe do a little bit less commenting. And it goes up and down each week. So it's all about tuning into what you can do.
Is that something that you face personally? Are these tips that you've probably given to yourself in the past? Do you think you've experienced burnout and have tried to follow these tips you're sharing with us?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And like actually recently, what I would say is I haven't been out on the side of like connecting with people, commenting, but the content creation side of things, I recently came to a point where I was getting tired of it and I couldn't really come up with new ideas. So I decided to take a step back. I just posted content that I repurposed. So this is another really good tip that I would recommend. If you feel like you can't really come up with new ideas or you don't have the time to create new content, repurpose your top performing content because on LinkedIn and when you're growing your personal brand, you're essentially repeating your ideas, but in a different way. So your same topics and things, you're repeating them, but just in a different way to amplify your message. And 100% with me, I have faced all of that stuff, and recently with the content side of things, burning out from that. But then you bounce back into it when you take a step back from it.
Absolutely. I think it's very easy as well, not just with burnout, but it's very easy to get bogged down with, am I doing enough? Am I being consistent enough? And I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that consistency doesn't mean constantly. You don't need to be on it every minute of every hour of every day, showing up and trying to be your best self. You can just have those blocked out times, like you've mentioned, where, okay, this is time that I'll get my head down and focus on it. And then after an hour, I'm going to step back. I'm going to have some time for myself. I'm going to be kind to myself. I'm going to take a break. And I think that will help with burnout because you're not being overloaded and you're also not being kind of like pulled into somewhat the vanity metrics of, okay, how do I get more likes on this post? How do I get more comments on this post? Which I think a lot of people, myself included, it's very easy to focus on those things as a metric for success, even though that's not necessarily the case. Would you agree?
100%. And even with me, where I'm getting like thousands of likes and comments on posts and impressions as well, even me, I can come to a point where I'm like looking at the content, I'm like, this is not good enough. This didn't get enough views. This didn't get enough likes. No matter what stage you're at, it still happens. So that's why you need to take a step back and look at the bigger goals that you have in place actually, and what do you actually want to pull out from everything.
No, I think that's great advice for everybody, to be honest.
If we think about somebody that is looking to start right now, what is the one thing somebody should do this week to start building momentum on LinkedIn? Or what's a couple of things they should do this week, or maybe starting next week so they've got the whole week? What should that person go and do to start momentum and building their personal brand?
So they should go onto the platform, scroll for a little bit, and pull out a couple of posts that they like. They should leave a couple of comments. This can be as many comments as you want to. Connect with a couple of people, write a couple of posts. So whatever you're comfortable with, do that. Just start small and start building it up. And then you'll get into everything. You'll build up that momentum when you're showing up. Like even with the content side of things, maybe you don't even need to write a piece of content right now. Just do the comments and the connecting, and then you can focus on the other things as well.
Brilliant. That's really useful. I think definitely for people that are looking to start their personal brand, or have maybe been quite reluctant to, again, maybe they've got that almost imposter syndrome, or they're maybe a little bit conscious of going and publishing their own post, that could really help them get started. So that's fantastic.
I always love to share information about LinkedIn and just branding overall, because there's so much that people don't know, because there's too much guru advice on LinkedIn, which doesn't really apply to everyone. So that's like where I come in, and I want to make sure that I'm sharing the right advice.
Advice you've shared has been absolutely amazing. I think it just teaches people that they don't need to be scared to put themselves out there. Like it's not something that they need to be frightened of, and they're valid for who they are and what they've done in their industry, and to share their journey and their knowledge and their expertise is just the next like stepping stone for them. So I'm sure this will inspire quite a few people and hopefully set them on an exciting journey of building their personal brand on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I hope so. It'll be exciting as well.
Well, Aisha, thank you so much for coming on. It's been fantastic to have you as a guest on our podcast. Your insights and knowledge have been fantastic. And again, thank you so much for sharing them. Guys, if you've enjoyed this, podcast, you've liked the insights that have been shared, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you'd be happy to. But remember, success takes time. It doesn't happen overnight like we've explained today, whether it be LinkedIn building a personal brand, whether it be building your business brand on LinkedIn, whether it be SEO as a whole, whether it be a link building campaign, whether it be something completely irrelevant like training for a marathon. It takes time to get yourself there. So don't go ahead and think, if you're not seeing results within a week, within 2 weeks, don't be disheartened. Take time, remind yourself of your why, remind yourself of your goal, and go from there. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you liked what you heard, make sure to follow the podcast, drop us a like, drop us a comment. We'd love to hear how you're applying these insights and strategies to your business. We've got more brilliant guests lined up, so stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, this is Jack and Jess signing off. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.